Hey team, so Justin here. I'm just going to run you through some like hip dominant leg pressing or a few tips to get you set up properly for your hip dominant leg press. So our feet are going to be high. We're going to try and find a position or a foot position where we can get nice and deep hip flexion or full hip flexion with a stabilized lower back. So our back isn't going to round into the pad and cause some lumbar flexion or low back flexion where you'll feel your hips want to roll up off the pad. So for me, I'm just slightly, like I get locked up here if I'm that narrow, but if I come out slightly, I can get another few degrees in hip flexion. So I'm going to line my feet up with that position. I'm going to sit in the seat. I take my butt about 1 centimeter off this pad, and then that lines me up well with the top of the weight plate or the foot plate. So I'm going to press out, take the brake off. My feet are slightly out, but my ankles, knees, hips are all in line. And then I'm going to come back into as much hip flexion as I can before my pelvis wants to roll up here. So I'm nice and tight, and then I'm going to press. So a few solid reps will look like pause at the bottom, press out, pause at the bottom, press out, control the negative, and press up. So another important thing is the intent that I'm trying to initiate with my hamstrings and glutes. So as I come down to the bottom, I'm thinking I'm trying to wipe chewing gum off my shoe. As I press, I'm really trying to initiate with this kind of movement. So I'm going to come down to the bottom, think about that chewing gum on my shoe. I'm trying to wipe it off as I press, and I can feel my hamstrings kind of initiate a little bit better. So that's going to be most of the tips that you can apply to initiate better with a hip dominant leg press and fire off those glutes and hamstrings a much more.